Hello and welcome to TVB News. The government's consultation work on the legislation of Article 23 is now underway. In an exclusive interview with TVB News, former Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying said Hong Kong should be more proactive in rebutting misconceptions towards legislative efforts of Article 23. That's by citing overseas examples such as security laws from Singapore and some European nations. Less than 2 weeks left before the consultation period for Article 23 ends on February 28th. Speaking with TVB News, former Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying, who is also Vice Chairperson of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, said the proposed scope of the local security law is reasonable.
I do not think we are draconian at all. Unlike the Ministry of the Interior in Singapore, we don't give it to our Home Affairs Bureau to decide whether someone is in contravention with, for example, the Singapore Foreign Interference Countermeasure Act. It's up to the judiciary, which is independent in Hong Kong, to decide. Many of our audiences have been reading too much analysis and so-called reports in certain Western media.
One of the reports that have been gaining traction is by American economist Stephen Roach. He said, "It pains me to declare Hong Kong is now over in such strongly worded terms." Any ways to, rebut it? Do you think the government is doing enough to reverse such narratives?
We live in a world that's full of competition. And our competitors obviously would use every opportunity to take things away from Hong Kong. And the best thing is to invite them to come to Hong Kong and see whether, for example, as some of Hong Kong's detractors, adversaries put it, Hong Kong is just another Chinese city.
Leung said the government should be more proactive in rebutting misconceptions towards Hong Kong's legislation of Article 23 overseas. Leung also commented on the Greater Bay Area. He said a number of leading Hong Kong business organizations do not have enough presence in the GBA.
We should be on the ground on a more permanent basis. Study the latest laws, regulations, policies, market conditions, and share these with the members. And these members are not just indigenous Hong Kong professional firms or Hong Kong enterprises. They should, and they could cover foreign ones based in Hong Kong. What
about the Greater Bay Area themselves? Are they offering enough, facilitation and help for these foreign companies, chambers, bodies, organizations to, set up headquarters, have more, tax relief as well?
It shouldn't be a two-way street. Non-Chinese Hong Kong permanent residents already have the privilege working in the Guangdong GBA cities paying Hong Kong tax rate and using a passport, a visa, stamping the pages could be cumbersome. And I think a GBA card would go a long way to facilitate the better flow of people from Hong Kong into Guangdong on a work basis.
Sunday marks the 5th anniversary since the development plan for the Greater Bay Area was unveiled. Leung said expediting the implementation of the southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles can also help buoy Hong Kong's economy with more mainland travelers. More than 200,000 people visited the Chubby Hearts installations in Central during the first 3 days. But the giant floating heart had to be taken down today owing to strong winds. The 60th Munich Security Conference has commenced in Germany, bringing together top politicians and diplomats from around the world. On the sidelines of the 3-day annual summit on defense and diplomacy, Foreign Minister Wang Yi and U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken were said to have held a candid and constructive discussion. Foreign Minister Wang Yi also held talks with British Foreign Secretary David Cameron and European Union's top diplomat Joseph Borrell in Munich. Danny Rao tells us more. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the Munich Security Conference today. During his speech, Zelensky said Europe has become a global force since Russia's full-scale invasion almost 2 years ago. He also said that 2024 must become a time for a full restoration of a rules-based world order. The recently unveiled Munich Security Index 2024 has shed light on the mounting anxiety among Europeans as traditional and non-traditional risks continue to loom large. The Israeli army has pumped seawater into Hamas's underground tunnel system in Gaza. Environmentalists say it could cause long-term dire consequences in the enclave and affect freshwater supply for displaced Palestinians. Still ahead. Welcome back. Today marks the final day of the mainland's 8-day-long Lunar New Year holidays. An estimated 650,000 mainland tourists visited the SAR over the course of this Lunar New Year break, a figure that surpassed that of pre-pandemic times. Timothy Lee tells us more. The Housing Authority will review rents for public housing in the middle of this year. This, as Director of Housing Rosanna Law stressed, even if rents are increased, it will not exceed 10%. The Highways Department constructed its first footbridge, applying the Modular Integrated Construction Method, or MIC. The time it took to complete the construction was faster than traditional methods by a month. In the latest legal trouble facing former U.S. President Donald Trump, he's been ordered to pay $355 million in penalties by a New York judge. Judge Arthur Engoron found that the former president lied about his wealth for years in a sweeping civil fraud verdict. The lawsuit was brought by Democrat New York Attorney General Letitia James and punishes Trump and his team for scheming to financial institutions by inflating his wealth on financial statements. NBC News has the story. Japan successfully launched its new H-3 flagship rocket on Saturday. This put the country's satellite program back on track after multiple setbacks, including the failure of the rocket's inaugural flight last year. The world is reacting to the reported death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny. The 47-year-old died in an Arctic Circle prison in the north of Russia, serving a 19-year sentence for extremism. U.S. President Joe Biden and British Foreign Secretary David Cameron put the blame on Putin. Nasmi Kareem with more. And over to sports, Britain's 6-time Olympic cycling champion Chris Hoy announced he has been diagnosed with cancer. With Kylian Mbappe leaving Paris Saint-Germain at the end of the season, Arsenal have been touted as one of the clubs who may swoop for the French star. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.